One man's ceiling is another man's floor.
A fool's paradise is a wise man's hell.
Never run with scissors?
I don't know what's going on either. What'd you expect? You stuck me in a silly soup. Got it balanced.
I wouldn't blame you. I have a lot of endearing qualities.
He will not cooperate on the hill.
Whatever. Card. Don't matter. Joe. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to AvidCat Studios. I'm your host, StormChild. So, somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, what's your favorite song? What do you do?" It's the same way when somebody asks you, like, "Hey, you like this series, Stargate. So, why do you like this series? Give me some episodes." And you're like, just start with the beginning. Of course. You want to start, like, at the beginning of whatever you're doing. You, like, start with A, and then you end at fucking A if you watch Continuum. There's some episodes that I think really solidify, like, why I like the series a lot. So the first one we're going to talk about is Ergo, and it's one of my favorites. The episode begins with the SG team hanging out, bantering back and forth, and then they see that, like, well, this next place should be kind of paradise, because it's got like this nice sandy beach and like a palm tree in the background. And you're also pretty sure you saw that in a different episode with a fish dude, which should be a red flag. I mean, like, oh, this looks like paradise. Wait a minute, watching Stargate. Trap. So they go through the gate, and they immediately come right back out the gate in the gate room, and everybody's like, "What's up? Why is everybody pointing guns at us? Like, why is everybody like spread around? And like, why is the general like right here now? Like, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, you've been gone for like 5 hours." I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna have to talk, huh?" So they go to an infirmary. Initially, nothing checks out. Everything checks out, and they're all cool until they start drinking coffee and loving the hell out of that coffee, which is disgusting if you've ever been in the military or any government office where you're like, "Oh, good, free coffee." Trap. So they go on this whole bender thing, and then eventually they're like, "You guys are acting like you're stoned, and sure, this is kind of funny, but this is very concerning. So we're gonna have to get you checked out." Zero in, got this little micro thing in their fucking brain. That's Ergo, by the way. Because as soon as they lock him up and there's one room, he immediately gets bored, starts talking to him, and shows himself. And they're like, "Wait a minute, so this little thing inside of our brains is this thing. It's this AI who we can't really like tell you what to do or control you. He can just like suggest things to you." And all of this is played out by the wonderful Dom DeLuise, who I think is fucking hilarious. And basically the entire episode is like a love letter from a son to his dad. And like, "Hey dad, I got like this cool job on this great show. You want to just come hang out and be you on set?" And it's absolutely funny. Not a lot happens in the episode. Because it's just about, because they can't go out and can't leave because, Ergo's fucking with their heads and just becoming more and more increasingly annoying, much to the audience's laughter. He tries to get Teal'c to shock himself, and eventually Sam figures out, hey, we can wipe him out with an EMP pulse, but obviously it reboots the thing, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna have to go back to the main planet. And it turns out that his boss, who he is absolutely terrified of, and then the episode takes this weird turn where it's like, is Dom DeLuise alternate? Is he sentient? Is like the AI actually sentient if it's afraid of death? I mean, sure, I guess. And there's this one little scene of this weird frog thing that looks honestly kind of amazing. And then it's just the rest of the episode is just him arguing with himself, and that's always fun. It is. And then they get back to the SG team gets back to base, and they have no memory of any of this happening. I'm like, all right, go to the infirmary. See you in the next one.
I'm here.
So the next one's fun. Okay, the next one might destroy the entire universe, but whatever. It's still fun.
SG-10 was on a routine exploratory mission of P3W4.
What do you want me to do? Cut? So, A Matter of Time. Honestly, it's one of the better episodes of Stargate. The whole thing starts on a different planet with a binary star, which is one sun and then another sun. And then this sun decides to say, fuck it, and collapses into a black hole, which starts to swallow everything around it. There's a new team that is out on an exploration, and they're trapped between the two things. And as they're trying to get out, they have their code go through, but it's really slow. And they're like, wait, what's going on? So the episode is really well written. It's got great timing. It's got great pacing. It's got great, pretty much everything you would need. There's no real big alien bad guys. Like I said, it's a black hole episode. And it explains the difference between a black hole and a wormhole. And one of the other characters says, don't act like you understood that. A lot of things are coming at you all at once. And like, just can you kind of dumb it down? It's like, yeah, it's real bad. Like, cool, I can work with that. So they reestablish contact, but then it starts to feed energy through the Stargate, but not enough to overcharge it. And like now, like the graviton waves are coming through the facility and starting to slow down time. So like 1 minute here is like 10 hours here. So they send down a rescue team at one point after like 5 hours of missing contact. And like, okay, that's kind of weird. So that dude shows up. Maybe he has a backstory. You don't know yet. So then you run into Richard Dean Anderson, and he's just like, hey, this is going to be an awkward conversation between us. You could just tell. And then it is. And you're like, oh shit. Because there is a backstory, but I won't spoil it. They come to the conclusion, hey, let's just blow up the facility. That'll fix everything. By the way, it doesn't. And then there's a whole nother sacrifice angle. Oh, one friend's going to save the other one. And it's good. Check it out. It's interesting. There's no gunfire. There's no like, oh, we got to solve shit. It's like, it's really good tension. It's like what good sci-fi should be. Fun, but like, like the peril that they're in needs to be tangible. You might not understand all of it, but it needs to be tangible enough to the audience to be like, oh shit, we need to be concerned about this. And this episode does it really, really well. Yeah. Having aliens is fun and a show that's basically about aliens. The contained episodes are just as fun as the exploration episodes. And the next one.
So, Dad, you don't really think we have a chance of finding this glow, do you?
Unmute Seth, Satesh, Sheboygan. So this episode is basically kind of like a parallel episode where it wants to tell you one thing to do something else. This episode is about a cult of Seth. Sam's dad shows up and it's like, hey, this dude has never left Earth ever since Ra left and we buried the gate all way back when. We need to look for this guy. So Selmac, his little brain thing, parasite, your dad has some issues and he wants to resolve them. Sam's like, oh yeah, it's about my brother or whatever, because they're not talking for some reason. And don't worry, they never explain it. There's a reconciliation. So hey, look, I already spoiled it up for you. The point is like that Seth is out there and he's very manipulative and he kills all of his followers if he's ever found out or whatever. The entire episode is kind of gray, muddy, murky, and kind of feels like weirdly like an X-Files episode, which is kind of fun because there's like a dad waiting outside of this compound that they know Seth is at because Daniel Jackson found out where Seth was after like one half-ass Google search. We need to find this old powerful being. It's over there. So they go in, try to break in. There's like, it's got good tension. It also has a good, easily solvable problems, plant devices that shouldn't, work. They're like, oh, no. Just forget about that part. Basically Seth takes over people and he has like this gas that he puts them out and it controls you indefinitely, which is what they used on Ryak, Teal'c's son back in the day. And that's why when he shocked him with the Zat gun. So how do you solve a problem like a cult? You just taser the shit out of them. Because that's basically how everything is solved. It's just like, oh yeah, we just get inside and taser the shit out of everybody. Like, no, that'll be too easy. How are we gonna do this? So they come up with this idea of like an earbud thing. For some reason, they take all of their gear, but leave that in there. That when the system is fully flooded, it zaps them like they do a Zat gun, which would render them nearly unconscious. But whatever, dude, don't explain it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. They get woken back up. And then they just go around tasering everybody anyway. And then the bad guy decides to blow up the thing. And then Sam has a fight with him in the tunnels and she like blows his back out. Literally. Yeah. Somebody gets their back blown out, and everybody gets a happy ending. That's why I like this episode. Overall, I know like most of sci-fi is kind of silly, which is why I like it, because it makes no sense. Yeah, it's supposed to be like hardcore sci-fi, and you want to think about it, and it does have some very cerebral moments. But sometimes you just kind of want to watch either things like blow up or like have a very solvable problem, and it's like cool. I'm down with that. People like pick on like Roland Emmerich for like his easily solvable movies or whatever. I'm like, screw you. I like 2012. It's a very fun ride. Is it a stupid movie? Absolutely. But it's a fun ride. It's like Independence Day. You think about it for more than like 4 seconds. You're like, this is fucking dumb, but it's like, look at the explosions. It's awesome. Oh, that one's so good. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. Please be safe out there, and later. Oh yeah, do the subscribe thing, I guess.
Au revoir, mon général.
I am unfamiliar with Antonio.